The weekend box office estimates are in, and as expected, The Batman ends up coming ahead. I don't think anyone saw any competition there. The only competition on the horizon until Morbius is that movie with Sandra Bullock next weekend that I have literally less than zero interest in seeing. But it says Warner Brothers' The Batman fell 45% in its third frame, yet still easily led the box office with $36.8 million as a new anime title surpassed all expectation in the runner-up slot. And we're going to talk about that, and I think you're going to, after you get done sneezing,
Bless you.
You're gonna enjoy this part a lot because it did very, very well. So it says compared to the other most recent blockbuster superhero movies, The Batman also experienced a sharper third weekend decline than December's Spider-Man No Way Home, which was 34%. Now last weekend we talked about how Spider-Man No Way Home had a larger week 1 to week 2 decline, but then the declines became less and less so week over week as positive word of mouth grew. And I think that a certain amount of negative word of mouth has kind of infiltrated the Batman conversation. Stuff relating to the origins of the Riddler, people talking about what they believe to be certain messaging that they've put through in that movie. Whether you agree or disagree with it is not really relevant. What's relevant is whether it actually is part of the discourse, which I do believe that it is, in a way that wasn't in Spider-Man No Way Home. Mm-hmm. So the Spider-Man No Way Home in its third week had a 34% drop, which is much, much better. But 45% drop is still fairly manageable. I don't think this movie is going to make $1 billion. I think it'll end up falling just short. But it says it's Monday morning quarterbacking. It says it's quite possible that the Monday afternoon weekend actuals will reveal that the Batman experienced a steeper drop than initially reported in Sunday's studio estimates, since the latter numbers were just over 300, put the movie at just over $300 million domestic total and just over 300.9. Okay, so 300.9. It says even if Monday's actuals reveal that the film actually fell short of the benchmark this weekend, the movie would doubtlessly surpass the mark for Monday's earnings to be reported. So they're squibbling over like minor details. The question is the movie doing well compared to other movies in their third week? So right here we've got Beauty and the Beast with 50%, 2019's Captain Marvel 50%, Dawn of Justice 54%. Not an uncommon number to be dropping percentage-wise into your third week. And then we go down here and we see they compare it to other Batman movies in the past. It says the Batman has now earned $300 million domestic and $298 million overseas for a total of $598.1 million global. At least for the moment, the film has earned a slight majority of its global earnings from the domestic marketplace. If that holds, when all is said and done, this will mark the first Batman film to do so since 2008. My question is how will okay, so here's the number I was looking for, China. So it says it does $12.1 million in China, which is kind of insane that we put this much emphasis on the Chinese box office for all of $12 million, 75% of which China keeps. We keep less than 50%.
Wait, are you shitting me? Really?
We don't keep almost any of the box office that comes in from China. The CCP keeps almost all of that.
This is why people think Americans are dumb with money.
Yes. I don't really care if they make. Okay, I shouldn't say that. But them putting movies out over there doesn't necessarily bother me as much as catering so much of your marketplace to it when you get so little return on investment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think more of it comes from less from what the box office revenue is and more about how much China invests in these movies through production companies.
That's why certain directors are willing to edit out certain things that the CCP doesn't want to see.
The most recent example that I thought was Roland Emmerich was desperate to get Moonfall made, definitely included elements in that movie that wouldn't have been there if it hadn't been for a Chinese studio picking up 60% of the tab on that movie or something like that. So, Miracle, you will be happy to know, however, that Jujutsu Kaisen did very, very well this weekend.
Nice. How much?
So it says Funimation's anime fantasy Jujutsu Kaisen 0 outperformed all expectations with an estimated $17.6 million opening weekend in second place. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but this is it wasn't even a wide release.
Yeah.
So it didn't go into 3,000 or 4,000 theaters. I think it went into less than 2,500, but we'll get down to the graph in a minute. It says that is 22% behind the $2.7 million opening of Funimation's April 2021 comparable anime fantasy Demon Slayer Mugen Train, which did very, very well. What we're finding is that there's a large marketplace for these So it says
anime is dominating everything because everybody's just done with woke culture, but who cares?
people just don't care about American movies anymore. Not in the same way they want something without the agenda in it, which I have my opinions on, but this is more about the numbers here, and the numbers seem to answer that question. So it says Japanese manga series. The Japanese manga series, the same name, dating back to 2017, Jujutsu Kaisen follows a school of sorcerers, earning plot comparisons to Harry Potter. Yes, that is true. So we're just going to go down to the numbers here. So it says this is the one I wanted to see, but we didn't end up going. And this is why it ended up in 8th place, which is The Outfit, which is a Mark Rylance movie. It's like he's like a tailor for a crime boss, or for like an Italian crime boss. 8th place, and then how do you say it again? Oma?
Yeah.
Oma? I got it right that time.
Yay!
Yes.
Oma.
Open below its already low expectations, failing to crack the $1 million mark with only a $915,000 opening. So let's go down here to weekend comparisons. And it says total box office this weekend came in around $82.2 million. That's 19% behind last weekend's total of $101 million. I wonder if just weather getting nicer plays a role in that as well. And no new releases. Batman was only in week 2 last week, so I'm sure that counts for most of that difference. And it says 53% ahead of the equivalent weekend in 2020, of course, because literally everything was shut down at that time, and you weren't getting nearly any films released. I think Tenet came out fairly close to that time period, and nobody was able to go see it because everybody's still scared out of their mind. So I just want to go down. So here's the numbers. It says Batman earned $36,800,000. That's a 45% drop. Still at 4,000 locations, 4,302. It only lost about 115 theaters. Now, this is what I thought was really interesting was Jujutsu Kaisen made $17,698,000, but at just 2,286 locations. So the average per theater for the Batman was about $8,554. The average per theater for Jujutsu Kaisen was $7,742. So if you imagine that they doubled this theater amount, it would have earned a fairly similar amount to the Batman.
Wow.
Which for something where I would argue that most normies wouldn't know exists, that's very, very good. So I think that's a strong indication that this is where entertainment will probably go in the future.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that anime, but that's I'd imagine an original thing, right? So that's cool to see something that's so original, that competing at such a level with something that's just like a brand name.
Yeah.
Like I like Batman, but
Well,
it's a name.
basically a summary of it: demons, kid.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. I'm sold.
Yeah, basically, like, I feel like Japan has no apologies for anything, so they just go wild with creativity. But again, we don't know yet because anime had like this weird popularity all of a sudden in the years. So maybe anime is the future and manga sales is also the future.
People have been using Japanese movies for inspiration for a while. I mean, Tarantino clearly.
Have you seen Tokyo Vice? It's going to be based in Tokyo, and it's based on a true story about an American journalist.
Couldn't have seen it yet because it's not out yet.
Well, like, I mean, like
I
the
think
trailer.
Have you seen the trailer?
I haven't seen the trailer.
It's a Michael Mann produced TV show.
Okay.
And he's directing the first and last episodes.
Okay.
And it's based on a book about a guy named it was Jake Adelstein or something.
Okay.
He was an American crime beat reporter working in Japan. He covered.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So.
So
I remember my mind was blown. Sorry, my mind was blown when I first saw Ichi the Killer.
Yeah.
You ever see that movie?
Yeah.
I was planning to watch it.
Japanese horror movies are unlike anything else.
Yeah, you remember the original Ring? That one like freaked me out as a kid.
That's right.
And then The Grudge.
And The Departed was based on, I think, a Japanese,
I believe so.
crime.
A lot of things, like, I hope that in the future, because I noticed like right now they're trying to look into different cultures. Like recently we talked about this football player who's writing a comic book about African folklore.
Christian Jones, I believe. Is his name.
Christian Jones.
He's writing comics based on African kings, queens, and African folklore.
That sounds rad.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, moving away from just, like you said, they don't have to race swap characters, just tell different stories.
Are you serious? They can do that?
They can do that.
Yeah, like
I know it'll cost them more in marketing, but you can do this.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool because like now we have like a new taste in everything. Because how many times can we rewrite Snow White? until it gets old.
I just saw that they have a new Charmed out. I didn't even know that they're redoing Charmed, right? Like
that one sucked. I watched it and I hated every single moment of it.
Charmed is all right.
Yes,
right?
it is.
They're also making a Hocus Pocus 2 that's coming out on Halloween.
And Legally Blonde 3.
But this is why I'm asking about jujitsu. Is that how you say it? Kaizen. Like,
yeah.
Because that's something that's original. And that's so exciting to me is to see something that's original.
Yeah.
Get up on the charts like that.
What did you think of the Batman? Just
trash.
Trash?
Aww.
I know you guys liked it. I'm sorry. You know how forward I was looking forward to it too.
I don't think that I necessarily liked it the most. I said that I supported the idea of it not being a movie that ends with a sky beam and an evil bad guy. I like any time that a studio lets a director make what he wants, whether that's a success or not.
And you see, I saw the studio's strings throughout the whole movie.
See, I saw very little. I mean, I saw it in some of the dialogue, but I also know that Matt Reeves is fairly like that. So that's.
I was so disappointed. To me, and this is this is just my opinion, but to me, the kind of Batman I like is the kind that talks about that mimics the human psychology, the horrors of human psychology, right?
Yeah.
To me, this new The Batman, which I was so excited to see, mimicked commercialism, and it was flat, and there was no characters. And it made me think, wow, Spider-Man, last time I was here, I was talking smack on Spider-Man, of course.
Yeah.
Made me like it so much more. Because I'm reflecting on Spider-Man, No Way Home. I'm like, those were characters. We had scenes where we want to care for them. In The Batman, it was just brooding. It looked awesome.
Yeah.
It all looked awesome. But to me, they were flat. It was a halftime commercial.
Okay, I kind of see that. But also, I just recently watched a theory. They said instead of having the Joker, because did you watch all the way to the end where the Riddler is talking to some unknown character and they're saying he might be the next Joker? The theory is he might be Hush, because Riddler and Hush are close friends.
Doesn't matter. The scene didn't need to be in there.
Meh.
Yeah.
That was the scene that made the least sense to me.
It did.
For me, it was all the monologues were where all the information was given, right?
Yeah.
And which is fine, but it seemed like everything was like that. And I rewatched Batman Begins last night.
That's my favorite of all the Batmans.
And it's so good.
I like it more than I like The Dark Knight.
See, in that, watching that reminded me of how much I liked characters, for real characters, because it's Batman has a fear. We learn about the fear. We go back in time real quick. His mind is triggered by something. We learn about the horrors of his past, and all that wraps together so beautifully. And to me, there was absolutely no story.
Yeah.
But I will say, I loved how they were trying to make a film noir.
Yes.
I love film noir. That was old school Batman. Batman goes out trying to solve crimes with Gordon. That's dope. But they lost that to me. And I thought she was a great Catwoman.
I don't
Zoe
like her.
Kravitz.
But for me,
I just like her a lot. But that's
she's beautiful. But for me,
she's a gorgeous woman. I don't like. I've let one thing that I talk about fairly regularly is I avoid Twitter and I do not look at up things celebrities say because I don't want it to color my opinion of their performance. I'm not a fan of her persona when she does interviews, and it tends to color my performance. But I don't think they had any chemistry.
I don't think they had any chemistry. I thought he was a good Batman.
I liked him. I think that he struggled with the movie struggled by being meandering, and that scenes that could have been that were 5 minutes long could have been 3 minutes long, and there was stuff that needed to be cut.
I don't mind the meandering
for the sake of pacing.
Yeah, I agree. I don't mind a long movie.
2 hours and 55 minutes is a slog for something.
To me that seemed like a commercial.
Yeah. For me, it felt like a slog. 2 hours and 40 minutes, 2 hours and 35 minutes. I think you take the same movie, you cut down some of those scenes just a hair. I don't need to see him walking through the same nightclub 3 times.
Right.
I think there was a lot of scenes that could have been cut down that would have changed my perspective on the movie. But I still enjoyed it for being what felt to me a different take on that genre from what we're seeing from the rest of the production.
I appreciate.
This is why I like the show. Why I like television versions of these characters more now, because the Peacemaker is my favorite thing in the Suicide Squad. The recent Suicide Squad movie are my favorite things made in the last couple of years because they're just refusing to be like a stereotypical formula.
Yeah.
But I'm also not attached to any of the source material of those characters.
And I'm not attached to source material either. And I'm always willing to be surprised by something, right?
Yeah.
I'll always remember my mistake of mocking the idea of Heath Ledger playing Joker before I saw him playing Joker, and then he blew my mind, right?
Yep.
So I like Paul Dano a lot, and I was really underwhelmed by his performance.
Loved him in the costume, didn't like him out of the costume.
All I saw was the little boy from Little Miss Sunshine screaming. And I like Paul Dano a lot.
I prefer him in the underrated cult classic, The Girl Next Door. with Alicia Cuthbert.
Yes.
And yes.
Yeah. No, he's great. He's great.
For the record, I don't know what they're talking about.
It's a great movie about a boy. It's a fantastic coming of age story about a boy who falls in love with an ex porn star.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
I liked it though. There were a lot of elements I did like. Like I liked that it was I want to say timeless in that it didn't exist in a time, right?
See,
it was the 90s and it was now. There
was a scene I pointed out where they're like a cab from the 90s gets behind a cab from modern day. That's done on purpose.
That was cool, I thought.
So that was interesting. There's other franchises that do stuff like that, but I was fairly let down when I think of the work that Matt Reeves did with his 2 Planet of the Apes movies.
Yeah, and the voiceover bothered me too. I thought we were about to watch Sex and the City.
Oh,
it's Halloween. What should I wear?
The voiceover didn't bother me.
I usually don't mind voiceovers, but that, and I was just like,
The voiceover didn't bother me.
You're like, I could do without it.
I was really disappointed. I was pretty sad, and everything from the trailer.
I bet
was
if
the
that
best
movie
stuff.
was 20 minutes shorter, you wouldn't have as harsh of a take on it.
If it had characters,
I bet you.
There was no characters to work with.
Mm-hmm.
There was no characters to work with.
Well, Gordon, of course, has to be perfect and not bad in any way.
I liked him though.
What I really wanted was for the mayor at the end to end up being the lady who wins the mayoral race. I wanted her to end up being the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
How was she walking through the water in the end and she got shot?
I wanted to find out that she hired the Riddler to do this and then wing her so that she could come out the hero, but they didn't want to do that for politically correct reasons.
Right.
So the movie let me down in ways. I do think it was beautifully shot. It's not something I'm going to watch multiple times. Nope. I watch Batman Begins a couple of times a year.
It's genius.
I'm not going to watch that movie more than I might watch it one more time at home. A lot of times I loathe to keep going over these topics because I tend to change my opinions on movies the more I see them. So it's possible I could like it more the more I see it.
Look at me. I changed my mind on Spider-Man.
The more I take in from a movie, it's not like you can watch something that took hundreds of thousands of hours to craft and then get every bit of it the first time you watch it. So I will rewatch it.
Absolutely.
And I imagine that the Penguin series will be good.
His makeup was trash. All I saw was makeup. All I saw.
Supposed to see nothing but makeup.
No, because when I'm looking at, but I mean like,
he's like as
studio
a man,
makeup,
I don't care for makeup.
That's not how I mean it. I mean like when I'm looking at Heath Ledger play the Joker or Joaquin Phoenix play the Joker, I'm seeing a character that happens to be wearing makeup. When I'm looking at the Penguin, I'm seeing someone who sat in a chair all morning putting on makeup in a trailer.
Well, you must know a lot about makeup because I didn't know.
I know a lot about makeup.
I mean, obviously, I knew that it doesn't look anything like Colin Farrell, but
which is cool. But I don't know.
So I just want to finish up here. So Uncharted pulled in another 8 million, 14% drop, and we got X, which got fairly good reviews. Which is an A24 film, which I'm not a horror dude, so I'm not going to go see it. 4 million Dog, another 4 million, only a 21% drop. And this is one of the most interesting ones. Spider-Man No Way Home pulls in another $3,200,000 or $3,200. $3,200,000.
Yeah.
$3,200,000 for only a 21% drop, still at 2,585 screens. And by the way, week 14 also came out on digital this week and still managed to pull in $3 million.
That's awesome. I'm happy to see people going out.
Yep. So Death on the Nile, 1,700,000 with a 30% drop, which despite the fact that movie is going to lose money, they did get green light for a third Kenneth Branagh murder mystery, which I will go see because I like anything that gives me a bit of difference. The biggest winner or loser seems to be Cyrano. Poor what's his name?
Peter Dinklage.
Poor Peter Dinklage. 66% drop. He only made $136,000. And it's only been out.
It's okay. Nobody really likes him anymore.
Yes, not anymore.
No,
he'll find some way to blame this on everybody else but him.
Yes. Well, he had his moment in Game of Thrones, and he's still holding on to that moment. That he's a tricky little man behind everything.
Really? Choice of words, Miracle. Gosh.
The tricky little man.
He was amazing in Game of Thrones.
He was. I loved his character a lot.
Yeah.
And did you watch the Family Guy episode where it's called HBO No? It's like basically they do the 3 different storylines and they chose like the 3 successful like HBO things.
Okay.
And they did Game of Thrones and Brian's like Peter Dinklage, and I thought that was the greatest thing ever. And
That's
then
funny.
Littlefinger is Quagmire.
That's perfect.
Yeah, but his name is Lot of Fingers.
Oh God.
Next week,
Brett's trying to transition back into
Next-
something
like,
serious.
no more.
next week we've got The Lost City, which was Sandra Bullock and
Mm-hmm.
Channing Tatum. I have no interest in going to see that, but some people might. That's the one that's based on a book, right, Miracle?
Yeah, I
Yep.
believe so. It's
And
based on
then
a
the
book.
following week is when all the real competition comes, and that's Morbius comes out on the 1st, and that's where I think. I mean, I guess there's a possibility that The Lost City beats the Batman next weekend, but we'll see what happens with that. Unless there's like a large audience for that I'm just not clued in on. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe Sandra Bullock is making her comeback after that weird
Article about how she wanted to get more work, even though she works all the time.
Well, she blamed the men in Hollywood. She
Yes.
was like, it's their fault.
Yes,
It's always somebody else's fault.
It's their fault that I don't have more jobs and I'm not working 24/7.
and she's literally got like a new project every year,
Right.
which as a working actor is about all you can ask for if you're doing movies and not TV.
I don't know. I feel like they already made this movie, so I'm not that interested in it.
So then we've got 2 weeks into April. We've got Morbius the first weekend, and then it will see how it will be interesting to see how Morbius does against. So that's the first. On the 8th, we get Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Ambulance, which I want to see both of.
Oh God.
So I might go and see.
I don't know about Ambulance.
Ambulance is a Michael Bay movie about Jake Gyllenhaal in an ambulance with his brother, with his like foster brother or something,
Right.
and they're running from the cops, and it's literally filmed outside the same bank that they shot Heat at.
Right. We
which-
saw the trailer as Spider-Man, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does look good.
I want to see that. I want to
Yeah.
see both of those, and I want to see Morbius. So we've got a busy half a month, half a month there. So that, and then Father Stew. Father Stew is that one starring Mark Wahlberg, and he's like, it's based on a true story. He's like a pastor. Or he's like he's a reformed criminal that becomes like a pastor or something like that. And anything like I'm finding myself as I get older to like these types of movies.
Yeah.
In a way, like anything that gets me away from the humdrum of the regular Hollywood machine tends to be.
Which is what
Mel Gibson's in it, the uncancelable Mel Gibson.
Yeah, which is what
Yeah.
I'm saying about characters.
Yep.
I crave character.
Yep.
Redemption, something to like care
well,
about.
you're also a writer.
Right, and that's my
So,
problem. That's
You
a big
you have
problem.
to be brainless like me.
That's not true.
I was about to say Brett, but Brett
That's
has
not true because
more
I like
brain
plenty.
than
I like
do.
plenty of brainless things. Right. I just expect better from things
Yeah.
that I know could be better.
You're like, I wish you tried better,
I wish you
Hollywood.
try- I know all of them are capable of better.
Yeah.
It was
I
just
know.
Twilight in the Batman costume.
It was.
So
I
much
love
brooding.
it.
It's just a 30-second to Mars
Have you s-
video for
Have
3
you
hours.
seen the memes?
Ouch.
3 hours to Mars. That's
Have
the new
you-
meme.
Have you seen the memes where they Photoshop like Robert Patterson as like the 1960s Batman with Taylor there as the 1960s Robin?
Perfect.
They're like, I'm sorry, but this has to happen. It has to happen somehow. Bring back Twilight. That's what people said.
We'll get that remake eventually.
Yep.
I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
Can it be better? Like the last movie kind of freaked out some people with the CGI baby, where her face is like
I
drooping.
didn't see it.
It's better than them doing like a fake baby. There's a fantastic, hilarious episode of an old show called Numbers where this criminal gets out of jail. He gets like his conviction gets overturned, and his wife like is there to greet him with what is very clearly the fakest baby you've ever seen in your entire life. Like she runs up to him, the baby's like hanging off her arm. It doesn't look real at
Yeah.
all, and they're like hugging, like basically killing the child because it's not a real child. Yeah, so better a CGI
Yeah.
baby than a fake baby.
Yeah.
I don't know.
think
Hopefully
that's a good
Hollywood
lesson.
might.
Hollywood
try
probably has
better.
a lot of babies in the basement, right? Just
Yeah.
ready to use.
Did you know that Millie Bobby Brown is now 18?
No.
Yeah, she's now 18. So everybody who was like after her when she was 13 now can.
What was
that
the
stuff
thing-
is disgusting.
Yeah,
That
you remem-
people have countdowns. That happened with the Olsen girls.
Yeah,
that
there was like
just-
they
Yeah.
did that on
People are
MTV.
sick.
They
Yeah.
did that on MTV. They had a countdown till so
Yeah.
and so is 18.
if you're out there doing it, you're sick.
That's creepy.
That is
You're-
creepy.
Yeah, but it's so weird because like there's one guy that she was dating that this was before she was turning 18. Like he was bragging that he groomed her.
Was that Drake?
No, it wasn't Drake. It was the guy after Drake.
Wait, it was the guy after Drake?
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a guy after Drake.
Yeah, there's a guy after Drake, and now she's dating another guy that's a little bit
Man,
older.
That's creepy.
But yeah, you remember that magazine article where they voted her the most sexiest actress.
No.
And she was only 13 when she got nominated for that magazine.
Is your point that she was once one of those babies being held in a movie?
Yeah. She's like that baby.
From the baby farm in Hollywood?
Exactly. There's a baby farm. I want you to investigate this.
Yeah,
There's a baby farm. There's a baby farm in Hollywood somewhere. Like, the boardwalk. That's just secretly a base of babies. Like
underneath the Hollywood stars is just a bunch of genetically engineered babies for. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.